Hello Tubesters, it's Gav and welcome to another one of my videos. Today we are looking at, finally, six figures, 20mm, or is that 1 in 72? Was it 1 in 76? It's 1 in 72, isn't it? They were, or supposed to be, wargame figures, but I'm putting them in a diorama with a 1 in 72 Vespid models. Panther tank. It's been that long since I've done it, I can remember what I've done. So with these done, all I've got to do is, I noticed I didn't make a very good job on two of the tank crew figures. So I've got all the tank riders painted up. They were from AB. I can't remember, CD models was this? Might have been, I might be wrong. I did do an unboxing of these, so somewhere in my playlist of reviews and unboxings you'll find them. Very nice figures, really are very nice. They were a pleasure to paint, not much clean up on them. I liked them, yeah, I must admit I liked them. So I've got two trees built. I thought I might, no I won't show you because they're covered in dust. They're half under dust sheets, but they've still got dusty. So tomorrow I've done the base. I did a lacquer base colour on the 1 in 35. This isn't an update for that, but 1 in 35 M48A2 for Vietnam that I'm building for the heavy armour and heavy guns group build. I wanted to put a lacquer down on that because the only paint I'd got of the bronzy green type that was being used in Vietnam by the Cav was all I'd got was acrylic. So I wanted to put a lacquer type base coat down just so my acrylics would go on top. But all that's done. It's, sandbags are done, figures were converted, everything's been done and primed. Might have a go on the figures tonight if I get enough time. But anyway, that's not about that, is it? But what I'm trying to say is, round in circles, the clip clop has come back in. You alright there, little buddy? No, that's not Joe from Mad Genius Productions. His video I've just watched, that's Archie. Bit size-wise about the same. Anyway, Joe's not so furry. And he doesn't lick his... We won't go down there. Anyway, the... oh, my light's just decided to move on me. My light's my painting lamp. So yeah, how dusty are they to show you? Oh, let's just bloody show you that they've been sat here for months waiting for me to right. I was roughly going with that size blue foam. I didn't want a lot. It went from having a building back to a couple of, now yes, the tree looks like something from a Doctor Who film or an old Star Trek from the 60s. As somebody used to climb trees for a living. I'm not sure I ever climbed anything like that. Never mind. And there's a little fella. That's as good as it's getting. It's had a lot of tree feed on that one. But yeah, and I might get rid of them. Yeah, I don't know. I've changed my mind that many times on this dio, but as we can see, and I think I've already shown an update, the tank's been done for ages. We are just waiting for these figures. So tank will have tank riders on, full crew, well, the commander and the driver and the bow gunner, co-driver, they'll be on. And then we've got these figures. It's as if they've parked up and they're getting their orders, you know, from a senior officer. Right? Get that? Right, hang on. This is all going to... No, it's going to drop on the floor now. Please don't knock over all those Napoleonic hussars. Right. Right. I do apologise. Let's go down to the bench and take a quick look, well, not so quick look, at these figures. Right, guys, thanks for joining me at the bench. Here are our six figures. We've got 3 officers and what we in the British Army would call 3 Toms, as in private soldiers, more or less. Waffen SS, no political connotations here. It's just set in Belgium, and obviously there's lots of iconic film and still footage of Waffen SS Panzer Grenadiers, and yes, Volksgrenadiers, and obviously Fallschirmjäger as well, but you know, we're going with these guys. Right, guy in a machine MG42 gunner in Italian camouflage. I don't know if they were still got. There was a lot of Italian camo used in Normandy by the Waffen SS, especially Hitler Jungland. These guys, I just wanted to do something different, and I will recycle these as well on different projects. So you know, it's or if I don't recycle them and sell them, I'll, whatever. But for now, they'll be placed on the Dio. So that's our MG42 gunner. Just gave him a normal, more of a summertime. I can't remember all the names of the different camouflages, but yeah, I just fancied doing him in the Italian camo that they wore. They've even been, even on the respirators, or what we'll call respirators now, but gas masks, they've even got the gas cape that they tied around it. They've even put that on, so that's what that is there. I believe it's a gas cape anyway. We have his number 2. Again, also, these lads decided to shop at the same place, and they've got both got their Italian camo. I'm not sure if I've seen Italian camo that had been converted into helmet covers or not, so I just gave them these two. So that's that one. And then we've got a rifle grenade, grenadier, I suppose we could say. Hence the bulbous. It's slightly bent there, but I didn't want to bend it back too much in case it snapped off. So that's not a myth. That is what the grenade launcher bit attachment is. That bulbous bit. It's not a piece of spall or anything. And he's got his grenades in his carrying sacks there. This fella, I've given him some Italian. He's still got Italian leather submarine trousers. They're often said they're U-boat trousers, but then when you see them in Normandy, but they're not. U-boat, as far as I'm aware anyway, U-boat leathers were like grey-green. And this is, the Italian leathers were the ones that were black. And I can't remember if it was a Leibstandarte or Liebstandarte. I don't know if when they had their brief stay in Italy and they got all their Italian equipment there, or if there were some naval stores in Italy, in France, from where the few Italian submarines had sailed from. I can't remember how they got all the Italian gear, but there was a lot present. So yeah, he's quite a nice pose like that, quite square jawed and nice face. So that's that. I was going to give you all different Waffen SS ranks. I just thought, no, I'm going to stuff it up. The problem with my memory, it goes in and out, and I remember them for a minute and then it goes out again. He's got his he's smoking his fag. Again, the weapons are a bit chunky, but don't forget these are war game figures, so if you think, well, you know, they're a bit on the chunky side, it's because they are war game figures. They're not scale, well, they're scale, you know, they're designed to be, you know, not too bendy and brittle, if that makes sense. But I just thought they're ideal for what I wanted. And look at this guy here. It's a toss-up that I've done because I've given him gloves, like some, you know, woolen gloves. He's a nice figure again. He's got his jumper on. I gave him the reversible smock. Now, you know, you can say, well, Gav, they don't look particularly winterised, and they probably don't. And the same with the tank riders, but I don't. It suits me for what I want. You know, I'm not overly. I think they tell the story enough. You know, well, I think so anyway. A bit of fluff or whatever on there. They've been waiting for a video, and they're just waiting now for me to actually get me finger out. If I wasn't doing the 1 in 35, I would have cracked on with the base on that. I still might do, because it only needs some DAS clay and some fencing and stuff made, and I've got it sorted. So hopefully we should have another update on this with a complete reveal. So there we are. Some photographs at the end, as always. I've done the front and backs just because there's only 6 of them. But again, I'm not kind of if it was CD models or figures or something, I can't remember. But they really are nice figures, whether you're wargaming or if you're after a scale. You know, because the thing is, for 1 in 72, if you're like Joachim, who does all the smaller scale, rather than buy the resin and stuff, you know, there are. I mean, yeah, probably have to get them from the UK, so I don't know what import and everything's like going to be like now to Europe. But you know, somebody like Joachim doing that scale all the time, these would be some nice figures, you know, to have on dioramas that don't have to be resin and cost even more. So, and they do some others as well. These were I just bought these specifically, and I've got a few extra, as in that were left over. I just didn't want to swamp the entire dio with figures. So, thank you very much for stopping by and taking a look. What's coming up? We've got a 1 in 35 scale update, hopefully tomorrow when I get the rest of the paint down on it. What else? I've got a few more 6mm which are just under. I'm literally picking them up and doing a bit if I've got the same paint, or well, I wouldn't say the same paint as I'm back to painting hussars now, but you know what I mean. I'll just pick them up and have a go for 10 minutes here and there, and pulled a couple of buildings out of the stash as well. You know, the old resin buildings I got when the guy gave me those as well. So yeah, back on the hussars. I've only got 2. I'm painting the started last night painting the trumpeter's horse. Quickly, I said horse. He's got a bit to go on him yet, but we're getting there. Just putting some textures down on him. So yeah, we've got the texture. I'm going to do the trumpeter's horse for them, and then paint both figures, the trumpeter and the officer, and then, as I say, I'll paint the horse in stages and then leap forward. You know, once I've done one bit, just so you get the idea. I'll do those for anybody who's interested. So that's it, and other stuff coming up as well. I've got quite a bit coming up at the moment. So also got a build I'm fancying doing. If anybody follows this to the end, I want to do when I've got the 1 in 35 out of the way. I've got a BV 206, which is like a personnel carrier that goes, a modern one, well, modern, early 2000s, that goes over extremely boggy ground, and they were used in Iraq, although it's called the Viking in Iraq, I believe, and it was slightly bigger and whatever, but the one I've got can be used for Spanish or Italian. Now, I'm going off tangent again, aren't I? I'm thinking of building that actually under the camera, because I'd had a few problems with the Lexington by following the instructions, and I was following the instructions, and the instructions weren't particularly great, and I made a couple of errors that I'm sure most of you other modelers wouldn't have made, because you'd have actually looked at it and said, well, they're leading you down the wrong path there, Gav. But because I stringently follow the instructions, I've had to dismantle parts of the Lexington and rejig them and stuff. It's all gone okay, but it could have been a lot worse. So what I'd like to do is call it like the PTSD build, and it's not anything to do with you know, I'm not doing this for a charity or anything like this. It's not particularly, I mean, anybody wants to build along with me, great, but I just want to show somebody who struggles following instructions because he's got a destroyed brain, the trials and tribulations of making that model, and let's just see if we can make it from beginning to end, and let's see how we go with it. So I mean, it's got a while yet. I've still got to finish off the Vietnam M48A2, and obviously get this Panther out of the way as well. But I fancy doing that. So that's just something to look forward to or not, as the case may be, coming up here probably in a couple of weeks. So look after yourselves. Thanks for stopping by and taking a look. Hopefully this next time you see these guys, they will be hopefully they will be retrievable after I've destroyed the Dio when I've finished with it, because I want the figures back. So we've got to work that out somehow. But yeah, these will all be down on the Dio, the tank riders on, the tank crew on, and we have got our giant Triffid trees or not. We'll just see how that goes. Look after yourselves. Keep bashing out the videos. I really enjoy them. It keeps me company. And we'll catch each other very soon on another video.